As I sit here, surrounded by the memories of a lifetime, I'm reminded of the woman who was the very fabric of our family's warmth and love, my grandmother, Aurora. To me, and to everyone who knew her, Aurora was an open book, her life a testament to joy, wisdom, and the kind of love that could heal any wound with just a hug. Her blue eyes sparkled like a summer sky on a cloudless day, and her embrace was a sanctuary where pain and sorrow couldn't penetrate. But life has a way of surprising us, of peeling back the layers to reveal depths we never knew existed. It's a truth I'm grappling with now, as I hold in my hands a worn leather diary, its pages yellowed with age, and its cover creaking with the whispers of the past. This diary was hidden in an old wooden box, tucked away in a corner of her attic, a place where memories and secrets go to rest. The box itself was old, its wood weathered to a soft silver, adorned with intricate carvings that seemed to tell stories of their own. I found it while searching through her belongings after she passed away, leaving behind a void that can never be filled. The moment I opened the box, a shiver ran down my spine. It wasn't just the unexpected discovery that caught my attention, but the realization that this simple, unassuming container held a secret, a piece of Aurora's life she kept hidden from the world. And then, I saw it, the diary. Its cover was soft to the touch, the leather worn smooth by years of being held close. The pages inside were filled with writing that seemed to dance across the paper, a narrative of love, loss, and resilience that I had never known. As I began to read, the familiar contours of my grandmother's life began to blur, like a painting in the rain. The woman I thought I knew so well was suddenly a stranger, her story a complex tapestry of choices, sacrifices, and forbidden loves. The realization hit me like a tidal wave. I had only scratched the surface of Aurora's life. There were depths to her story that I had never imagined, secrets she kept hidden, not just from me, but from the world. The more I read, the more I felt like I was unraveling a thread that led me through generations of our family's history, a history marked by courage, heartache, and an unyielding pursuit of love and freedom. This diary is more than just a collection of pages, it's a key to understanding the woman who shaped my childhood, a chronicle of survival against the backdrop of turmoil and change. As I share Aurora's story with you, I invite you to walk with me through the shadows and the light of our family's past. It's a journey of discovery, not just of who Aurora was, but of who we all are, and the enduring power of love to transcend time and circumstance. The pages of this diary hold more than just memories, they hold the essence of a life lived fully, a life of sacrifice, love, and the kind of courage that can only be found in the face of adversity. Over the coming hours, I'll take you through the highs and lows of Aurora's life, a story that spans continents, generations, and the kind of love that refuses to be extinguished. It's a story of a woman who lived through the unimaginable and emerged stronger, her spirit unbroken. And as I share it with you, I'm reminded of the power of love and legacy, of the choices we make, and the secrets we keep. The worn pages of this diary are a testament to the human spirit's capacity for resilience and love. As I turn each page, I'm drawn into a world both familiar and unknown, a world where the lines between past and present blur, and where the enduring power of love and sacrifice come alive. Join me on this journey into the heart of our family's story, a story that I hope will resonate with you long after the final page is turned. In the late 1930s, nestled in the heart of rural America, lay the small town of Willow Creek. A place where time seemed to stand still, where the air was sweet with the scent of blooming wildflowers, and the sky stretched out in endless blue. It was a community where everyone knew each other's names, where children played freely in the dirt roads, and the sound of laughter echoed through the valleys. This was the world Aurora grew up in, a world that was both simple and profound. Aurora, a young woman with a heart full of dreams and a mind full of wonder, lived on a modest farm on the outskirts of town. Her days began before the sun rose, with the soft clucking of chickens and the gentle lowing of cattle. She'd step outside into the crisp morning air, her hair tied back in a loose braid, her eyes sparkling with the promise of a new day. The world around her was alive with the sounds of nature, birds chirping, the rustle of leaves, and the distant rumble of a tractor driving into the fields. Her family was the heartbeat of the farm. Her parents, hard-working and kind, toiled in the fields from dawn till dusk, their hands roughened by the earth but their love for each other and their children evident in every glance, every smile. Thomas, her older brother, was a dreamer, with a passion for flying that seemed almost unreachable in their small town. He'd spend hours poring over aviation magazines, his eyes tracing the lines of airplanes soaring through the skies. And then there was Lily, her younger sister, with a poetic soul and a love for the stars. She'd lie on her back in the fields, gazing up at the night sky, her imagination running wild with tales of constellations and magic. The daily routine of the family was dictated by nature. Mornings were spent helping with the harvest, afternoons at school, and evenings under the starry sky, sharing stories and laughter. Aurora found solace in these rhythms, but alongside the contentment, a subtle restlessness stirred within her. She loved to read, escaping into worlds beyond the rolling hills and fields of Willow Creek. Her fingers would trace the lines of words on a page, her mind painting pictures of far-off lands and adventures. As she walked through the fields, the earth beneath her feet seemed to hum with the beat of her heart. She felt a deep connection to the land, but alongside it, a yearning for something more. This wasn't a discontentment born of ingratitude but a hunger for experiences beyond the familiar. She couldn't quite articulate it, but the sensation was there, a gentle tugging at her soul, like the soft breeze that rustled through the wheat fields. The evenings were filled with music and stories. Her father would play his old guitar, the melodies weaving a spell of peace over the family gathered around. Aurora's mother would sing, her voice a rich, warm contralto that seemed to hold the world together. In these moments, all seemed right with the world. Yet, even as she basked in the love and security of her family, Aurora couldn't shake the feeling that there was a world beyond the horizon, calling to her. As the seasons changed, so did the rhythms of their lives. Spring brought new life to the fields, summer the warmth of long days, autumn the harvest, and winter the quiet of snow-covered landscapes. Through it all, Aurora grew, her roots deepening into the earth even as her dreams stretched out towards the sky. In the stillness of the night, when the world seemed to slow its pace, Aurora would take out feet to walk. The stars above, the night air filled with the scent of damp earth, and the silence, it all seemed to speak to her on a deep, unspoken level. She felt small yet connected to something vast and mysterious. It was in these quiet moments, under the vast expanse of the night sky, that Aurora felt the stirrings of a journey that would one day take her far from the peaceful fields of Willow Creek. A journey of survival, of love, and of the unbreakable bonds that tie us to our past, even as we forge our own paths into the unknown. The peace of Willow Creek was a cradle, rocking her gently, but also a cocoon, from which she would one day emerge, transformed. The world beyond its borders was vast and unknown, filled with challenges and promises. And Aurora, with her heart full of dreams and her soul yearning for more, stood at the threshold, ready to take her first steps into a future that would test her strength, her love, and her very will to survive. As the night deepened, and the stars twinkled like diamonds scattered across the velvet sky, Aurora returned to her home, her heart filled with a mix of contentment and anticipation. Little did she know, the storms of life were on the horizon, storms that would test her resolve, her love, and her spirit. But for now, in the warm glow of her family's love and the serene beauty of Willow Creek, she found peace. A peace that would one day be a distant memory, a beacon calling to her through the darkness, reminding her of the enduring power of love and the human spirit. As the summer of 1939 waned, the warmth of the sun-baked fields and forests of Willow Creek began to give way to a sense of unease. News of the war in Europe, once a distant rumble, grew louder, its shadows creeping into the quiet lives of the townspeople. Radio broadcasts, once a source of entertainment and news about far-off lands, now carried an ominous tone, speaking of Nazi Germany's aggressive expansion and the threat it posed to global peace. In the humble farmhouse of Aurora's family, these broadcasts were met with a mixture of concern and skepticism. Her parents, Emma and James, exchanged worried glances as they listened, their faces illuminated only by the soft glow of the radio. Thomas, Aurora's brother, however, seemed more excited than concerned, his young eyes sparkling with the thrill of adventure. For him, the war was a far-off escapade, a chance for heroism and stories to tell. Aurora, sitting by the window, her fingers absently tracing the patterns on the quilt she was making, felt a growing sense of unease. She had always believed the world to be a just and beautiful place, full of love and music. But as she listened to the news, a dawning realization crept over her: the world was not as safe, as kind, as she had imagined. The news spoke of atrocities, of innocent lives lost, and of a darkness spreading across Europe. That evening, under the starlit sky, Aurora took refuge in her diary, writing by the soft light of a lamp. Her words poured out in a stream of consciousness, a mix of fear, confusion, and a deep-seated desire to protect her family and her way of life. As she wrote, the crickets and the wind provided a soothing background melody, a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing in her heart. The next day, as Aurora walked into town, a sense of normalcy still clung to the streets of Willow Creek. People went about their daily routines, though the air was thick with unspoken worry. It was then that she saw him, a young man in a military uniform, standing by the old oak tree in the town square. There was something about him that was different, a quiet confidence and a look of purpose that set him apart from the other boys who had enlisted. Their eyes met, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still. Aurora felt a jolt of curiosity, a spark of connection that she couldn't explain. The young man, Elias, smiled faintly, his eyes crinkling at the corners, and nodded in her direction. It was a simple gesture, but it sent a shiver down Aurora's spine. As the days passed, Elias became a fixture in town. People whispered about his past, about how he seemed to have appeared out of nowhere, with no family to speak of. Some said he was a wanderer, a drifter who had enlisted to find purpose. Others claimed he was running from something, or someone. Aurora found herself drawn to Elias, to the mystery that surrounded him, and to the sense of safety he seemed to offer. They would meet by chance, exchanging a few words here and there. Elias was different from the other boys. There was a depth to him, a sense of having lived through more than his years. But there was something Elias wasn't telling, something that made him pull back when Aurora asked about his past. A flicker of pain crossed his face, and for a moment, Aurora saw a glimmer of fear. It was then that she realized Elias was hiding something, that his presence in Willow Creek was not as coincidental as it seemed. As the leaves began to turn, and the nights grew cooler, Aurora couldn't shake the feeling that Elias's arrival was more than just a chance meeting. There was a purpose to his being there, a purpose that seemed to entwine with the growing darkness of the world. And as she looked into his eyes, she saw not just a young man in a uniform but a soul carrying the weight of secrets and perhaps, a forbidden love. The wind picked up, rustling the leaves, and Aurora felt a shiver run down her spine. She knew that her life was about to change, that Elias's presence was a harbinger of challenges to come. The peaceful life of Willow Creek was on the cusp of being shattered, and Aurora, with her open heart and inquisitive spirit, was about to be drawn into a world where love and war were perilously intertwined. As the summer of 1939 waned, the sun-kissed fields of Willow Creek began to feel the shadow of war. Aurora and Elias's clandestine meetings grew more frequent, their love blossoming like a wildflower in secret. They'd steal away to the old barn on the outskirts of town, its wooden beams creaking softly in the breeze, or walk hand in hand through the sunflower field, the tall stalks swaying above them like sentinels. The world around them melted away, leaving only the gentle rustle of leaves, the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and the promise of a future together. In these stolen moments, Elias would share tales of his past, of the brilliant mind that had once driven him to create, and the horror that had driven him to flee. Aurora listened with rapt attention, her heart aching with compassion, as the lines on his face deepened, and his eyes clouded with memories. She saw the pain he'd endured, the weight of secrets he carried, and her love for him grew, a flame that burned brighter with each passing day. But Elias's presence in Willow Creek was not a coincidence. He was searching for something, a powerful encryption device, an artifact his mentor, a brilliant clockmaker, had hidden away. The device, a marvel of intricate gears and cryptic symbols, held the key to preventing a catastrophe. Elias's mentor had entrusted him with the mission to find it, to keep it out of the wrong hands. The artifact, Elias revealed, was hidden in a secret labyrinth beneath the old church, a labyrinth his mentor had designed, filled with puzzles and riddles waiting to be solved. As they explored the dusty passages beneath the church, the air thick with the scent of age and decay, Aurora felt the thrill of adventure course through her veins. The soft glow of the lantern cast eerie shadows on the walls, and the sound of dripping water echoed through the corridors, making her feel like she was walking through a dream. Elias's hand in hers was a lifeline, a reminder that she was not alone in this journey. But they were not alone. The Nazi agents, disguised as civilians, had begun to appear in Willow Creek, their eyes scanning the crowds, searching for Elias, for the artifact. The once peaceful town was now a hotbed of tension, whispers in dark alleys, suspicious glances, and furtive movements. Aurora felt the noose tightening, the danger escalating, as Elias's presence became more precarious. In the midst of this chaos, Aurora found solace in her diary, the worn leather cover a comforting presence, a confidant that kept her secrets, her fears, and her love. She wrote of Elias, of the way he made her feel, of the danger that lurked in every corner, and of her growing determination to stand by him, no matter the cost. The diary became her sanctuary, a place where she could be honest, where she could confront the turmoil within. As the stakes rose, Aurora's transformation accelerated. She was no longer the passive observer, but an active participant in Elias's mission. Her courage, resourcefulness, and love for Elias forged a new path, one that wound through the shadows, always staying one step ahead of those who sought to destroy them. The diary entries grew more urgent, a reflection of her inner turmoil, as she grappled with the impossible choices, her family's safety, her love for Elias, and the weight of the artifact's secret. The night air was heavy with the scent of blooming lilacs, and the sound of crickets provided a soothing background hum, but Aurora's heart was racing. She knew that she was taking a risk, that the consequences of her actions could be dire. Yet, she couldn't help but feel drawn to Elias, to the danger, and to the mystery of the artifact. As she wrote in her diary, the words poured out of her like tears, a cathartic release of emotions, a declaration of her love, and a testament to the power of the human spirit. In the silence of the night, with the stars twinkling above, Aurora made a vow to herself: she would stand by Elias, no matter what lay ahead, and together, they would face the darkness, armed with nothing but their love, their courage, and the secrets of the past. The diary, now a tangible connection to her inner world, seemed to whisper words of encouragement, as she turned the pages, the words blurring together, a reflection of the uncertainty that lay ahead. As I sit here, reflecting on those fateful days, my heart still aches with a mix of sadness and pride. It's as if the shadows of the past are gently caressing my face, reminding me of the trials Aurora faced, and the love that blossomed in the most unexpected, yet extraordinary way. In the depths of the underground labyrinth, beneath the ancient church, Aurora and Elias finally stumbled upon the secret chamber. The air was heavy with anticipation, thick with the scent of damp earth and old dust. Their hearts pounded in unison as they pushed aside the cobwebs and creaking wooden beams, revealing the hidden room. The clockmaker's masterpiece, the device of intricate gears and cryptic symbols, lay before them, its beauty and complexity a testament to the genius that had created it. But their moment of triumph was short-lived. The sound of footsteps, muffled at first, grew louder, and the two assistant realization. Dawn assistant, danger was closing in. Nazi agents, with their cold, calculating eyes and guns drawn, emerged from the darkness, their presence a harsh reminder of the world above, where hatred and violence reigned. "Aurora, we have to get out of here, now," Elias whispered urgently, his eyes scanning the chamber for any possible escape route. Aurora's mind raced as she quickly assessed their situation, her knowledge of the labyrinth proving invaluable in this desperate moment. With a deep breath, they sprang into action. Aurora led the way, her feet bare and her heart pounding against her chest, as they navigated through narrow passages and dark corners. Elias covered their rear, his gun at the ready, his eyes fixed on their pursuers. The labyrinth seemed to shift and twist around them, like a living entity determined to trap them. Every step echoed through the corridors, making it seem as though they were being herded towards some unknown fate. Aurora's senses were on high alert, her skin prickling with fear, yet she pressed on, driven by her love for Elias and her determination to protect him. In the chaos of the confrontation that followed, time seemed to warp and bend. Gunshots rang out, and the sound of scuffling footsteps filled the air. Aurora's world narrowed to the face of Elias, his eyes locked on hers, filled with a mix of fear and resolve. It was in this moment of pure chaos that Elias made his ultimate sacrifice. Cornered and wounded, with agents closing in, he pushed Aurora towards the artifact, his hands trembling as he placed it in her grasp. "Aurora, you must go," he whispered, his voice barely audible over the din of battle. "You must keep this safe, and make sure it finds its way to those who can use it." Tears streamed down Aurora's face as she looked at Elias, her mind reeling with the thought of losing him. She wanted to scream, to beg him to stay, but she knew she had to be strong, for him, for herself, and for the promise they shared. With a final glance, Elias pushed her away, and Aurora stumbled backward, the artifact clutched tightly in her hand. She turned and ran, the darkness of the labyrinth swallowing her whole. The sound of gunfire and Elias's cries for her to go faded into the distance, leaving her with an aching silence. As she emerged into the night air, gasping for breath, Aurora felt the weight of her loss settle upon her. The artifact, now a bittersweet reminder of Elias's sacrifice, seemed to pulse with a life of its own, its metal cold against her skin. She wrapped her arms around it, holding it close as if it could somehow bring Elias back. But it couldn't. All she had were her memories, her grief, and her determination. The diary she had kept throughout this ordeal became her solace, her confidant, and her strength. In its pages, she poured out her heart, recording every detail, every emotion, and every promise she made to Elias. As I look back, I see a young woman, burdened by the weight of her love and loss, yet unbroken. Aurora's story is one of resilience, a testament to the human spirit's capacity to endure, even in the face of unimaginable pain. And as I share this tale with you, I hope you'll see, too, the enduring power of love, the depth of sacrifice, and the legacy that lives on, long after the darkness has passed. The rain-soaked night air clung to me like a damp shroud as I emerged from the labyrinth, my heart shattered into a million pieces. The sound of raindrops hitting the cobblestone streets was a relentless drumbeat, echoing the turmoil within me. I had the artifact, but at what cost? Elias, my love, my guiding light in those dark times, was gone. His sacrifice still hadn't sunk in, it felt like a nightmare from which I couldn't awaken. As I stumbled through the darkness, the only sound being the squelching of the wet earth beneath my feet, I felt like I was walking through a fog, with no direction, no purpose. The house loomed before me, its windows like empty eyes staring back. I pushed open the creaky door, and the warm light from within enveloped me, but it offered no comfort. My family, oblivious to the storm that had raged within me, bustled about, their voices a gentle hum in the background. I went straight to my room, shutting the door behind me. The diary lay on my dresser, its leather cover worn, a testament to the countless nights I'd poured my heart onto its pages. I opened it, and the familiar scent of old paper and ink wafted up, transporting me back to moments with Elias. Tears streamed down my face as I read over our last conversation, the entries becoming increasingly difficult to decipher through my blurred vision. The official story would be that Elias died in an accident, a tragic loss for our community. But I knew the truth, and it was a burden I carried alone. My parents and siblings noticed my withdrawal, my distant gaze during meals, but they couldn't fathom the depth of my sorrow. I became adept at masking my pain, pretending that with each passing day, the ache lessened, but it only intensified, a gnawing hunger that couldn't be satiated. The artifact lay on my nightstand, a metallic gleam under the soft candlelight. Elias's notes, scribbled in haste, were my only solace, my roadmap to understanding what we had risked everything for. I began to study them, poring over diagrams and cryptic messages, seeking to unravel the mystery. The diary became my confidant, my guide, and my comfort. I wrote about everything, my grief, my fears, and my resolve. As days turned into weeks, I found solace in the quiet routines of research. The local library became my refuge, a place where I could lose myself among dusty tomes and manuscripts. I would sit for hours, surrounded by the musty smell of old books, poring over anything that might shed light on the artifact. The librarian, Mrs. Jenkins, noticed my presence, her kind eyes asking questions I couldn't answer. I was there to escape, to find Elias in the words of others, to keep his memory alive. The sound of pages turning, the soft scratch of my pen on paper, became my therapy. My entries grew more sporadic, but they were no less heartfelt. I wrote of Elias, of his laughter, his eyes, and his sacrifice. I wrote of my fears, of the unknown dangers that lurked in the shadows, of the weight of the artifact. And I wrote of my resolve, of the fire that began to burn within me, a determination to see this through, no matter the cost. The world outside seemed to move on, indifferent to my pain. But I couldn't. I had to keep moving, for Elias, for us, and for what we believed in. As I scribbled notes in the margins of my diary, a plan began to form, a plan to honor Elias's memory and to ensure his sacrifice wasn't in vain. I was no longer just Aurora, a girl from Willow Creek. I was a guardian, a keeper of secrets, and a seeker of truth. In those moments of solitude, surrounded by books and the whisper of the past, I found strength. It wasn't the kind of strength that shouted, it was quiet, resilient, and determined. I knew I had a long journey ahead, one fraught with peril, but I was no longer alone. Elias's legacy lived within me, guiding me through the darkness, urging me forward. The diary entries grew less about mourning and more about purpose. I started to see the world through Elias's eyes, to understand the magnitude of what we'd been up against. The artifact, once a symbol of hope, now felt like a responsibility, a key to unlocking more than just a device. It was a key to the future, to a world where love and sacrifice could be the guiding principles, not tyranny and fear. As I look back, I realize that grief can be a catalyst for change. It forced me to confront the harsh realities of the world but also reminded me of the beauty of human connection. Elias may have left me physically, but his love, his spirit, remained. And in the silence of my room, surrounded by the relics of our journey, I knew I wasn't just running away from home, I was running towards a future, one where love could conquer even death itself. The candle on my nightstand flickered, casting shadows on the walls as I wrote the final entry of that day. The artifact lay beside it, a cold piece of metal, but one that held the promise of warmth, of light in the darkness. I closed my eyes, feeling Elias's presence, his whisper in the wind. I knew I had a long way to go, but I was ready to face it, armed with nothing but my love for him and my determination to see this through. In those quiet moments, I found my voice, my purpose. The diary, once a sanctuary, had become a battle plan. I was no longer the girl who had stumbled into a labyrinth, I was the woman who would emerge from it, stronger, wiser, and driven by a love that refused to die. As I sit here, reflecting on the journey of a young woman not much older than my own grandchildren, I am reminded of the power of love, sacrifice, and determination in the face of overwhelming adversity. Aurora, a name that means dawn in Latin, was about to embark on a path that would lead her through the darkest of times, yet ultimately illuminate a way forward, not just for herself, but for countless others. After leaving Willow Creek, the small town where she had shared moments of tender love and profound loss with Elias, Aurora found herself in a bustling city, its anonymity a double-edged sword. On one hand, it offered her a chance to blend in, to become just another face in the crowd, on the other, it threatened to swallow her whole, to make her feel as though she was drowning in an ocean of faces. She settled into a modest apartment, a place that was as unassuming as she had become. The walls were painted a soft, calming blue, a color that reminded her of clear summer skies, of hope. But it was reciprocity that filled her days and nights, the rhythm of working, researching, and learning. Aurora had taken on a simple job at a local cafe, enough to keep her occupied and earn a modest living, but it was her nights that were truly filled with purpose. Libraries and archives became her sanctuaries, places where she could lose herself in the pages of history, cryptography, and engineering texts. Elias's diary, now her most treasured possession, guided her through the labyrinth of her research. With each passing day, Aurora's determination only grew stronger, fueled by the memories of Elias and the weight of the artifact they had fought so hard to save. The artifact, as she began to understand, was far more complex than she had initially thought. It was not merely a device for encryption but a powerful tool for intelligence gathering, capable of deciphering enemy codes and predicting strategic movements. This realization both thrilled and terrified her. She was now the guardian of a secret that could potentially change the course of the war. Aurora's transformation was nothing short of remarkable. From a young woman who had once been sheltered in the quiet rhythms of a rural life, she evolved into a resourceful and capable individual. Her skills in observation, discretion, and counterintelligence were self-taught, learned out of necessity, and her unwavering promise to Elias. I recall one particular evening when Aurora decided to test her newfound skills. She was in a crowded train station, the kind of place where one could easily get lost or found, depending on their intentions. Her mission was to gather information on a suspicious individual who had been following her for days. With a hat pulled low over her face and a coat that made her almost invisible in the sea of travelers, Aurora blended in seamlessly. She noticed the way the suspicious individual fidgeted with his gloves, a nervous habit that betrayed his otherwise composed demeanor. She observed how he seemed out of place among the crowd, his eyes scanning the area with a practiced air of surveillance. Aurora followed him at a distance, her heart pounding in her chest, yet her steps light and confident. She ducked into a nearby cafe, ordering a coffee as she kept a discreet eye on her target. The sounds of the city, the hum of conversation, the clinking of cups, and the occasional train whistle in the distance, created a symphony of tension and suspense. Aurora managed to decipher a coded message the man received, a sequence of numbers and letters that seemed nonsensical at first glance but revealed a hidden pattern upon closer inspection. Her heart raced as she realized the significance of what she had uncovered. This was it, this was the kind of intelligence that could make a difference. And yet, in that moment of triumph, Aurora was also acutely aware of the danger. She had been seen, or so she thought, by a pair of piercing eyes scanning the cafe. Her instincts kicked in, she gathered her belongings and slipped out into the night, the city lights blurring together as she walked quickly, her senses on high alert. The Nazi threat was still very much present, agents actively searching for the artifact and the young woman who now possessed it. Aurora's life was a constant balancing act between living a normal life and being on the run. Her days were filled with the mundane tasks of working and sleeping, but her nights were a different story altogether. They were filled with planning, with studying, and with the relentless pursuit of knowledge. Despite the solitude and the emotional toll of her secret life, Aurora found solace in her mission. It was a bittersweet existence, one where moments of joy were often overshadowed by the looming threat of discovery. Yet, with each passing day, she grew more resilient, more determined. The memory of Elias and the importance of her mission fueled her, turning her grief into a powerful force for good. Handshackled, her days turned into weeks, and her weeks into months. Aurora's transformation was profound, a testament to the human spirit's capacity for growth, for resilience. She had become a guardian of secrets, a keeper of the flame that Elias had ignited within her. And though the road ahead would be fraught with peril, Aurora was ready, armed with nothing but her courage, her wits, and the enduring love she shared with a man who had given his life for a cause greater than himself. The city outside her window pulsed with life, a stark contrast to the quiet, rural existence she once knew. But in this anonymity, Aurora had found a new kind of freedom, one that allowed her to pursue her mission with a clarity of purpose she never thought possible. She was no longer just a young woman in love, she was a force to be reckoned with, a silent guardian of hope in a world torn apart by conflict and fear. As the night drew to a close, and the city outside her window began to quiet, Aurora's thoughts turned to Elias, to the love they shared, and to the journey that lay ahead. She knew that the road would be long, that there would be challenges and close calls, but she was ready. For in the end, it was not the darkness that defined her, but the light of love and sacrifice that Elias had shown her, a light that would guide her through the most turbulent of times. The war had finally subsided, leaving behind a trail of devastation and a world forever changed. For Aurora, the silence that followed was a balm to her weary soul. She had done it, she had played her part in the grand symphony of resistance, her voice whispering crucial intelligence into the ears of those who fought for freedom. The artifact, once a burden, now shone as a beacon of hope, its secrets unlocking doors to strategies that would bring the Allies one step closer to victory. In the quiet hours of the night, she would sit in a small, secret office, her fingers flying across the keyboard of a machine that crackled and hummed as it transmitted vital information across enemy lines. Her heart pounded with every click, every encoded message sent into the void, hoping against hope that it would find its mark. And it did. Time and again, the feedback came in, operations foiled, convoys rerouted, strongholds breached. The echoes of these victories resonated deeply within her, a sense of satisfaction that mingled with the ache of loss. Elias, her love, her guiding light, had been taken from her. Header_start Ed in the line of duty. But as the news of the war's end filtered through, radio broadcasts and whispered conversations in streets now filled with laughter and tears, Aurora felt the weight of her mission lifting. It was over. The artifact, now a tangible link to Elias, was safely stored, its purpose fulfilled. She recalled the day she placed it gently inside a beautiful music box, the soft melody that played a lullaby of peace and remembrance. The box, with its delicate patterns and the soft glow of the moonlight dancing across its surface, became a symbol of her journey, a reminder of the love that had sustained her through the darkest of times. With the war's shadow lifted, Aurora sought a new beginning. She returned to Willow Creek, the place where her and Elias had shared so many dreams. The landscape, once a backdrop for their love story, now seemed different, yet familiar. The creek babbled its gentle song, the trees stood tall and proud, and the sun painted the sky with hues of peace. Here, she found solace and simplicity, dedicating herself to rebuilding and nurturing the community that had been torn apart. Years passed, and Aurora's role evolved. She became a pillar in the community, her experiences and the lessons learned guiding her as she helped families rebuild, as she educated children about the importance of resilience, love, and the power of the human spirit. Her home became a haven for those seeking comfort and wisdom. And in the quiet evenings, when the world outside seemed to slow its frantic pace, Aurora would sit with her granddaughter, the narrator, sharing tales of a past that seemed almost mythical, yet profoundly real. The narrator listened with wide eyes, mesmerized by the stories of courage, loss, and ultimately, love's triumph. As she grew older, she began to understand the depth of her grandmother's character, the sacrifices made, and the extraordinary life lived. The diary, once a secret keeper of her heartache and hope, now served as a bridge between generations, a testament to the enduring power of love and sacrifice. In the garden of her home, surrounded by the beauty of nature and the laughter of children, Aurora found her peace. Her eyes, once bright with the fire of hope and defiance, now shone with a soft, serene light. She had lived through the storm, and now, she basked in the warmth of a new dawn. The artifact, safely stored, no longer her burden but a cherished memory, a symbol of Elias and the love that had changed her life. As the seasons changed, and the years went by, Aurora transformed. The hardness of her exterior gave way to a warmth, a sense of fulfillment that came from knowing she had made a difference. She became Grandma Aurora, a figure of wisdom and love, her life a canvas painted with the vibrant colors of her experiences. The narrator, reflecting on her grandmother's life, story, and legacy, realized that the simplicity of Aurora's later years was a testament to her strength, not her weakness. The stories, the laughter, and the love shared around the dinner table were not just reminiscences of a life lived, they were the very fabric of her being, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is a thread of hope, a light that guides us through. And so, Aurora's story became a beacon, shining brightly for those who heard it, a reminder of resilience, love, and the transformative power of both. Her life, a melody played on the strings of hardship and joy, sorrow and love, left an indelible mark on the world, a legacy that would live on through the hearts she touched and the stories she shared. Grandma Aurora's hidden diary, once a secret keeper of her heart, had become a bridge to the past, a guide for the present, and a beacon of hope for the future. As I sit here, surrounded by the quiet of the afternoon, the diary lying open on my lap, I feel the weight of my grandmother's story settling within me. It's as if the pages, yellowed with age, have become a bridge between the past and the present, allowing me to walk alongside Aurora, to feel her joys and her sorrows, her fears and her triumphs. This diary, more than a historical record, has become a map to her soul, guiding me through the labyrinth of her life. I recall the stories she used to tell me as a child, tales of fairies and heroes, of magical realms and daring quests. At the time, I thought they were just fantasies, meant to entertain and perhaps teach a moral or two. But now, I realize those stories were metaphors for her own life, a life that was anything but ordinary. The fairy who lived in the woods, the brave knight who fought against darkness, they were all reflections of Aurora's own journey, her own struggles and victories. As I reflect on her legacy, I understand that it's not just about the artifact she protected, or the secrets she kept. It's about the silent strength she embodied, the wisdom she shared through her stories, and the unconditional love she had for life and for those around her. Her legacy is complex, a beautiful tapestry woven from threads of courage, love, and resilience. I see now that her story isn't just about the past, it's about the present, about my own life. The struggles she faced, the choices she made, they all resonate within me, guiding me through my own challenges. I realized that I wasn't just reading about her, I was reading about myself, about the potential for strength and love that lies within every one of us. The diary has become a personal treasure, a guide that helps me navigate the complexities of life. It's taught me that courage isn't the absence of fear but the willingness to face it head-on. It's shown me that love, in its purest form, is about sacrifice, about putting others before oneself. And it's reminded me that our stories, the ones we keep hidden, are the keys to understanding ourselves and each other. As I look back, I see the parallels between Aurora's life and mine. The fears, the dreams, the moments of sheer joy and unbearable pain, they're all there, echoing across generations. It's as if she's whispering in my ear, your story is important, too. Your struggles, your triumphs, they're part of the larger tapestry of life. In reading her diary, I found a sense of peace, a deeper understanding of what it means to live, to love, and to let go. The emotional journey has been cathartic, allowing me to see the world through her eyes, to feel the weight of her experiences and the beauty of her soul. And now, as I close this chapter of my life, I'm left with a universal message, one that I hope will resonate with those who hear Aurora's story. It's about discovering our own hidden stories, about sharing them, and about the transformative power of love and sacrifice. Aurora's story has shown me that our lives are not isolated events but interconnected threads in the vast fabric of human experience. As I look directly at you, I want you to know that you're not just a listener, you're a part of this story, a part of Aurora's legacy. Her diary has taught me that our stories have the power to heal, to inspire, and to connect us in ways that transcend time and space. So, I encourage you to find your own story, to cherish it, and to share it with the world. For in doing so, we honor not just ourselves but the generations that came before us, and those that will come after. The music in my heart, the one that Aurora's story has awakened, now plays a little louder, a melody of hope and resilience. It's a reminder that, no matter where we come from or what we've faced, we all have the capacity to leave a mark on this world, to make a difference. And as I glance down at the diary, now a cherished treasure, I know that Aurora's story will continue to inspire, to guide, and to heal, long after I'm gone. In the silence that follows, I invite you to reflect on your own story, to see the heroism in your own journey, and to share it with the world. For in the end, it's not just about the artifacts we leave behind or the secrets we keep, it's about the love we share, the wisdom we impart, and the silent strength we embody. This is Aurora's legacy, and this is my hope for you, that you'll find your own voice, your own strength, and your own story to tell. As I sit here, reflecting on Grandma Aurora's story, I'm reminded of the power of love and resilience in the face of adversity. Her journey, woven from threads of courage, sacrifice, and the pursuit of hope, stands as a testament to the human spirit's capacity to overcome even the darkest of times. Through her eyes, we witness the transformative power of love, a flame that burns brightly even in the depths of despair. Grandma Aurora's story is more than just a tale of survival, it's a mosaic of moments that shaped her into a beacon of strength and wisdom. From the rolling hills of Willow Creek to the labyrinthine secrets beneath the ancient church, every step she took was guided by an unwavering commitment to protect the ones she loved and the legacy that would outlive her. Her diary, a hidden companion through the trials and tribulations, reveals the intimate struggles and triumphs of a woman who, against all odds, chose to hold on to hope. As we close this chapter of her life, it's clear that Grandma Aurora's narrative is far from over. It continues through us, in the lessons we learn from her story, and in the way it resonates within our own lives. If her journey has touched your heart, if the echoes of her courage and love have found a home within you, then this story has fulfilled its purpose. It's a reminder that we're all part of a larger tapestry, interconnected by our quests for meaning, love, and resilience. Now, as we bring this story to a close, I invite you to take a moment to reflect on the power of love and sacrifice. Let us honor Grandma Aurora's legacy by embracing these values in our own lives. Please, take a moment to subscribe to our channel for more stories of hope and resilience. Share this video with someone you love, and let's keep the conversation going. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on Grandma Aurora's story and what it means to you. As the music swells, and the memories of Grandma Aurora's story linger, I leave you with a question: what is the one legacy you wish to leave behind for the generations that follow? Is it a story of love, of courage in the face of adversity, or perhaps a testament to the power of resilience? Whatever it may be, remember that the stories we tell, the legacies we build, are the bridges that connect our past, present, and future. In the silence that follows, I hope you'll carry Grandma Aurora's story in your heart, and let its lessons guide you through life's journey. Share your thoughts, and let's continue this conversation. Your engagement means the world to us, and we're grateful for the opportunity to share these powerful stories with you. As we conclude, take a deep breath, and let the essence of Grandma Aurora's story settle within you. Feel the warmth of her love, the strength of her courage, and the depth of her resilience. Let these qualities inspire you to face your own challenges with hope and determination. The final moments of her story are etched in my memory, a poignant reminder of the human spirit's capacity for love and perseverance. And as I look directly at you, I invite you to hold on to these memories, to cherish them, and to let them guide you through life's trials and triumphs. In the end, it's not just a story about survival against violence, it's a testament to the enduring power of love and the human spirit. So, let's keep the conversation going. Share your likes, subscribe for more content, and join our community of storytellers and listeners. Together, let's keep the legacy of Grandma Aurora alive, and may her story inspire you to face your own challenges with courage, love, and resilience. With that, I want to thank you for being part of this journey. Your presence means everything, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share Grandma Aurora's story with you. As the music fades out, I hope you'll carry the essence of her legacy with you, and that it will continue to inspire you long after this video ends.